Jessica, like you also are pointing to a really a trend that really sucks, which, and what we're saying, which is you can't just do comedy for comedy and talk about the human experience anymore, especially if you want to get noticed, number one, but also number two, everyone, there's just this rush to like put people into boxes, and I also think that some progressives have, I mean, come on, we all know when you do a room, you're like doing a show where people are like, I've done like activist events, organizer events, nonprofits hire me. They often pay well, but like, if I'm doing a bit about Trump's dick, or I'm doing a bit about Louis C.K. and like I'm doing it, everyone clams the fuck up, and you're like, yo, you need to relax. You need to not be on edge. You can't be ready to like not laugh and be so ready to be dead inside, to enjoy comedy. You have to just kind of put that aside and let the joke actually work or wash over you. If you laugh, fine. If you don't laugh, if you laugh, great. And if you don't laugh, like, of course, like I'm not going to blame the crowd, but I do think people are very worried about what they laugh at. Very worried about what they laugh, especially liberals.
Well, that's what kind of sucks about like being on the left, is it's like there is a lot of making it not fun. And it is good that we want to be conscious. And that I don't have a problem with. Like, yes, always be kind and conscious and etc. But there is a thing of like the ego being so involved and like wanting to be the best and just like kind of obsessing on being such a good person that you kind of like lose the forest for the trees, I guess, in a way. And it does just like suck. Like, and I think it's like a toxic, honestly, kind of white people thing a lot of the time, where it's like we're looking for who to stab in the back and be better than. And it's just like, I just want everyone to like humanize each other and be a person again and have fun.
What I think one thing that folks forget about comedy when attaching a political valence to it is that it is all about creating in groups and out groups. And if there's a joke teller, you two know this, right? And a person who's the object of that joke. And if you're never willing to sort of occupy one or the other group, right? If you're always seeking to just sort of draw a boundary around yourself and stay safe as the in-group, as the person who gets the joke, you lose that sort of sense of empathy, I think, that's required to, I don't know, bond with other humans, to experience culture that's different from your taste.
Yeah. Do you offer solutions in your book? Like, and do you feel like, I think some people are like, well, Colbert, remember that line of thought where it was Colbert is to blame because he was ironically his irony was taken seriously, and like, Stewart is to blame because everyone didn't take MAGA seriously enough and all this bullshit. But I guess my question to you is, what's the way out of it? Because in a way, I feel like you guys are arguing to actually take some of this so-called comedy seriously.
Yeah, I think I'm guessing we're likely of a similar generation where we watched Colbert and Stewart on the Daily Show, and our political sensibility was shaped by that. I think those of us kind of old millennials who look back on that now think that, ooh, that's not politics, right? Just like laughing at the sort of Fox News and now MAGA universe isn't enough. We need sort of material action. We need labor unions. We need all the things that actually make a difference in people's lives. But the thing we're sounding an alarm bell about is that we on the left don't own this cultural form. We like to paint the right as kind of humorless, cultureless assholes, and there's a lot to that. I mean, that's been borne out again and again, but they're making inroads in this one sort of cultural territory. They're taking seriously that Breitbart dictum that politics is downstream from culture, right? That you can gain political territory by winning over online young men and turning them on at Gamergate, right? So we're kind of trying to sound the same alarm bell that especially young men attracted to this cultural form are being recruited to right-wing causes. They're being introduced to libertarian and further right-wing thinkers, and to take that seriously. I don't have a toolkit to combat that. I'm just trying to convince people that it's an issue in the first place.
Yeah. And I do think, like, you know, my point earlier about, you know, sort of ceding the ironic territory, ceding the edgy territory, and I think the point you made to the right is a problem for progressives and people on the left and liberals generally. Like, we all need to take ourselves a lot less seriously. And that's what I hope this show does. And that's generally what I like to put out into the ether. If someone's like, don't make fun of, you know, people in the MAGA crowd for having bad teeth. I'm sorry. I'm going to make fun of them for having bad teeth. Don't body shame Donald Trump. Fuck you. I'm body shaming Donald fat ass fucking Trump, yo. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, your rules don't apply to these awful fascists. So like there's that. But I also think the right loves to be martyred, and especially some of these like if it's podcasters, if it's like Rogan, like if it's Baked Alaska, who's, you know, I guess he's a comedian, but his origin story is he worked at BuzzFeed and then someone told him to not use the phrase spirit animal because it was offensive to Native Americans, and he was like, 9, you know, he just like became a Nazi. It's amazing. So, which is like, that's not on that person who said that to him. That's on him looking for any way to be like, the woke, you know, fascists are coming for me.
Yeah, it's the case of Baked Alaska and a few other folks that we talk about in the book. I think the word grift gets tossed around a lot, and it can be inaccurate, but I think applies here, where a lot of these internet personalities, aspiring comedians, see a relatively crowded space in mainstream or left liberal comedy, and they see an economic lane occupied by saying, they're trying to cancel me. I'll try to work my way up by meeting Andrew Schultz or trying to get on Legion of Skanks or doing the rooms that those guys do. So some of this stuff, I have a hard time believing these folks actually believe. It's more a cynical sort of economic ploy to get clicks and downloads and get the Butcher Box to sponsor your podcast.
Yeah, you just had this week Whitney Cummings, you know, tweeting out a bit of hers that was like I wasn't offended by the bit. It was about R. Kelly. She starts to twerk during it. And then she writes, if this doesn't get me canceled, I don't know what will. Yeah. And it's like such a cringy angle that not only the joke, leave the joke alone. It's fine. I'm, again, whatever. But it's like her marketing it as like, well, I'm going to get canceled for this. So.
Yeah, there's a good bit of, I follow another figure we write about in the book is Steven Crowder, and he's very good at sort of writing headlines a certain way, baiting people into debate, and getting the algorithm to push him to the top of certain people's feeds and put him alongside more self-serious, you know, right-wing thinkers.